God, this homework is so boring and annoying. I just need a break so I'm not staring at paper for 10 minutes or something. I guess I probably should just go pop a video game in. Oh, come on! Paper Mario, a series that started so strong and was so well done that they couldn't possibly screw it up, damn it. Paper Mario was an incredible game on the N64 and was one of the first RPGs I personally ever played, up there with Pokemon. It's a great stepping stone RPG to get you into the genre without throwing all the crazy numbers, characters, and gameplay mechanics at you that other RPGs do. This is a game a 4-year-old like me could play. I wouldn't even let a 4-year-old near this. What makes Paper Mario so great? It has great characters with more charm, funny dialogue, and development than any Mario game I had seen at the time. Although that's not really saying too much, since the only dialogue I had seen in a Mario game before this was... The entire world is diverse and fun to explore. No two areas are the same, which keeps the game fresh, but the game also connects all the areas well without just random teleportations through paintings. Toad Town as the central hub works amazingly with transitions to every area in the game. Just walking from screen to screen, taking a train to the desert, traveling on a whale to an island, and even through pipes in the sewers. Maybe we should copy that for an entire game. The turn-based battling style was super well refined and had simple yet very well thought out mechanics that everyone could get the hang of. It kept the game easy for newcomers, but allowed for difficulty increases that kept the game challenging as you went on as well. The story is engaging and much more exciting than any game before it. There's actual lore, which is not something you normally see in a Mario game. Normally, it's just Peach got kidnapped, collect some shit, and beat Bowser up. Wait, that's exactly what this game is too. Plus there's side quests and secrets to do outside of the main story, which we all know I love to death. I could keep going on, but since I'm probably going to make a video on this game too someday, I probably shouldn't get too in depth. But what I will say is, what if Nintendo decided to take all of the ideas from this game and expand and improve upon them for a nearly flawless sequel? Well, Nintendo did exactly that and made a game that every single person, myself included, is still waiting for a sequel to this day. Today, we're taking a look at Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door was released for the GameCube on July 22, 2004 in Japan, and then later throughout 2004 across the rest of the world. It is a direct sequel to the original Paper Mario and is the last in the series to follow that same gameplay style from the original. Even though we all want a new game like that too, but Nintendo just keeps saying you will get bullshit and you will like it. The game was originally revealed at the Game Developers Conference in 2003 and was tentatively known as Paper Mario 2 here in North America. The game was then shown at E3 2004, where a short demo was played showing some of the first areas in the game like Petal Meadows and Hooktail's Castle. And that was pretty much it for the development. Not too exciting, but the game itself is way more exciting, I promise. The game opens up with Peach buying a treasure map from a mysterious person in a sketchy looking town. Definitely seems perfectly safe for the princess of an entire kingdom who routinely gets kidnapped to be doing this with no bodyguard or anything. I'm sure nothing will happen to her. She sends the map to Mario and tells him to meet her there so they can search for the treasure together, but when Mario gets there, she's already been kidnapped. Shocker! Mario sees a group of X-Nauts led by Lord Crump harassing a Goomba lady. She hides behind him and forces her to protect him because this is the face of a hero and masculinity right here. This leads into an introductory battle teaching you how the gameplay works, and surprise, surprise, it works exactly like the first game with a few minor tweaks. Mario has two basic attack types with jumping and using his hammer, which you start with in this game instead of stealing it from an elderly Goomba. Each attack is a way to make them more powerful, like with jumps timing an A button press at the same time you hit the enemy, and with the hammer holding left in the control stick and releasing it at the right time. Both of these do about the same amount of damage if you time them correctly, but they need to be used for different enemies based on their defenses and other qualities. Like if there's an enemy on a spike on its head, you probably shouldn't jump on it, but I guess I can't stop you. Both your jumps and hammer get upgraded throughout the game with the Super and Ultra Hammer and then the Super and Ultra Boots, even though the game doesn't understand proper grammar and says you got a Super Boots. I can just hear my English teacher grandma screaming at me in the back of my head. These upgrades make them stronger and allow you to perform new attacks like the spin jump and spring jump, which are much more powerful attacks, but they do require you to use flower points or FP. Flower points allow you to use the more powerful attacks as long as you have enough of them to use the attack. You can use these attacks by equipping badges that you buy and collect throughout the journey. These two simple aspects of badges and FP make the battling so much more engaging than the Paper Mario games after this. You need to strategize on which badges to equip since each one requires a certain amount of badge points or BP, and the way you get to increase your HP, FP, or BP be is by collecting 100 star points from battles, which levels you up and allows you to pick one of those 3 to upgrade. This is what made these first 2 games great. I love these games to death in every aspect of them, but if there was just one thing that I wanted to come back to the new Paper Mario games, it would be this level up and badge system. This gave you an actual incentive to complete battles in the game because it made you stronger and gave you the ability to expand and diverse your moveset and badges to whatever suits your playstyle best. The new games just give you coins, even though there's already a crazy overabundance of them in those games. Every video I mention this, but there is literally no reason to complete random battles in the new games because you get nothing! All it does is waste time and make you waste stickers and attacks that could be more useful against actual required battles, since the new games don't have badges either. You just get attacks to use against different enemies, while in Thousand Year Door, you get such a wide variety of badges that can do so many different things. You get attacks for your jumps and hammer, one to make hearts and flowers spawn more often, ones that make you immune to elemental attacks, ones that make you more likely to dodge, and even pointless ones that make you sound like a cricket. Okay, that one really isn't that pointless since it helps you beat a boss, but you get my point. If you really want to see how the rewards are different, I've prepared a demonstration for you. Congratulations on defeating this enemy and leveling up. Now please select which one of these 3 you would like to upgrade. Here's a quarter, you dumb bitch. You also have partners to attack just like the original, but they are more fully fleshed out and have their own HP and can use items. They can still be upgraded to learn new attacks and are more like a party member in a regular RPG than before. This makes the battling much more strategic since you can switch who is in front in case you want one of them to take damage instead of Mario and vice versa. And the large variety of partners keeps it interesting in case one is more useful for a certain battle over the other partners. Or you can just be normal and use Vivian for every fight. The partners in general in this game are some of the best cast of characters I have ever seen, especially in a Mario game. They just have so much depth and great personalities that make them feel real and relatable. Well, some of them are relatable. I can't relate super well to a big boob singer ghost since my boobs aren't quite that large. There are a few which feel a bit like copies from the original with Goombella and Koops, but then you get the baby Yoshi, Bobbery, and Miss Mouse, who are all so unique in what makes Paper Mario so memorable. And what I love about these characters is that they just don't randomly join you, but they all have a motive and reason to push onwards with Mario on his journey. If you ever told me I would almost cry playing a game with a pirate bomb that has a wheel coming out of his ass, I would have thought it would have been from laughter. The game has emotional moments like any good RPG does, but it doesn't have the classic moment of one of your party members dying like so many RPGs out there. I guess that's one thing Origami King has over Thousand Year Door. Now that I completely got off track from talking about the story, let's get back to it. Peach was kidnapped by a group of X-Nauts because they are looking to use her as a vessel for the spirit sealed within the Thousand Year Door. The only way to open the door is to collect all 7 crystal stars, which is what the treasure map Peach gave Mario leads to. Mario meets with Professor Frankly, aka the best character in the game, who tells him to take the map to the door, which will show him the way to the first crystal star, and then rinse and repeat until he finds all 7 before the X-Nauts do. This requires Mario to travel all across the world with some of the best locations in the whole dang series. Petal Meadows, Boggly Woods, Twilight Town are all so much fun to explore with beautiful scenery. And then there's freaking Glitzville, which is a whole dang wrestling arena floating in the sky led by a corrupt fat dude named Grubba. How could it get better than that? Maybe if there was a chapter that revolves around trying to solve a mystery on a train. Oh, yeah! Detective Luigi is on the case! That's a joke you will only get if you've played the game, and I refuse to explain it. All these areas are amazing, and it's even better that they're connected to the best hub town in the whole series. Rogueport is the biggest rundown shithole I've ever seen, and I'm pretty sure that if I ever went there, it would go something like this. Whoa! Yikes. Rogueport is so much more unique than somewhere like Toad Town, which is why I love it so much more. Mario games are always seen as happy and cheery, but this gives off a much edgier and uncomfortable feeling which helps the game stand out. I mean, you literally get robbed about 5 minutes after the game starts, so that should tell you about what kind of place this is. The characters here are so much different than the average Toads you see in most Paper Mario games. You have to watch your step walking around here, or you might get shanked, and gosh, I love that feeling. That sounds really bad, but I just love the feeling of being kept on your toes. There are so many nooks and crannies to explore, especially since it's got the entire sewers right below. Almost every area in the game connects to the sewers, which is kinda nice since everything is in the same area and it's hard to get lost. But the transition from area to area doesn't feel quite as smooth as the original. It's a minor nitpick, but that's really the only thing that this game does worse than the original. But you know what this game does way better than the original? The puzzles, because oh man, are these good. I don't know if you want to call them dungeons or what, since this isn't Zelda, but every area at the end of the chapter has some of the best puzzles which fully fully utilize the abilities and partners you've acquired throughout the game. Obviously, they favor newer abilities for each chapter, but they don't only focus on that and incorporate each partner for secrets. It keeps the game fresh since you never know who you're going to need to progress, and the best part is, the game doesn't give you any massive hints and forces you to figure it out on your own. I don't like games that hold your hand and baby you throughout it, so this is a nice challenge and change of pace from most Mario games. And some of the power-ups you get make these puzzles even cooler. Although, I don't know if you really want to call these power-ups since it's technically you getting cursed by a random voice trapped in a chest. These unironically are the coolest abilities in the series, and I love these voices explaining to you how terrible and scary these curses are when it's literally just allowing you to turn fucking sideways. All the curses are fun and make sense with the paper aspect since it's all folding and stuff you can physically do with paper. Getting a stronger hammer is cool and all, but turning into a paper airplane is on a whole nother level. They even took basically this whole idea and turned it into its own Paper Mario game with Origami King. As cool as some of the folding and origami is in that game, nothing will ever top turning Mario into a tube to roll under walls. Peak game design right here. Going back to the end of chapters, the chapter bosses are also so damn cool. A giant dragon, a macho fat dude, Lord Crumpin, a robot made of toilet paper, an undead pirate, and even yourself? Oh my gosh, every single one of these fights is so much fun and none of them are even that easy. They provide a real challenge and truly test your abilities, and this all culminates with the final boss, which I would argue is one of the hardest Mario bosses of all time. And before I talk about it, as always, I gotta say spoilers, but if you're this far into a video about a game that's almost 2 decades old, I really don't think you care. Peach is possessed by the Shadow Queen, who was sealed in the Thousand-Year Door, and just, yes. I didn't know they could make a perfect boss, but fighting a possessed Peach is it. She has so many different phases with different attacks that all whoop your ass until the power of friendship saves the day. And you know what the best part of the whole Shadow Queen section is? You can say no to fighting her and you can become her servant instead. It results in an instant game over, but I just love that it's even an option. This was such a change from Bowser almost always being the final boss, and it made it way more interesting. Just like Luigi being the final boss in Super Paper Mario. I hope more Mario games can do this, but instead we just get a copy of the original game and then Bowser that fell into a tar pit. We deserve so much better. Thousand-Year Door took nearly everything from the original game and made it even better. If there was ever a game I would say was a nearly perfect sequel, this would be it. There really would only be a few minor things that I would even change. Number one being the cutback on the bestiality, but Nintendo's always been known for that. Everything from the story, world design, gameplay mechanics, characters, and everything it has to offer is what makes this one of my personal favorite games of all time. I can play it over and over and never get bored and continuously laugh from the funny dialogue and writing. Instead of being the main villain, Bowser is a comedy relief character, and I never thought that would suit him so dang well. Every time he shows up, you know it is going to be fun, and he even has short 2D sections reminiscent of the 2D Mario games. This is the closest we'll ever get to a Super Bowser Bros game, and I'll take it. Peach has her own sections between chapters too, which aren't quite as exciting, but they give you a lot more lore and understanding of what the X-Naut's plan is. She speaks with the computer tech, who slowly seems to get a crush on her, which is just a bit weird to me. To be fair, I did ask him to cut back on the bestiality, but this is taking it a bit too far. The only thing he's got going for him is that he's always hard since he's made of metal, but that doesn't solve all your problems. Don't ask me how I know that. I enjoy these Peach sections, especially since you get to watch her take a shower. But dang, did you really have to go behind the curtains and I can't see anything? I wanted to see her super flat paper chest. All in all, this game is phenomenal and I would recommend it to everyone. It's a bit harder to play since the newest console you can play it on is the Wii, but if you have the means, definitely try it out. Hopefully it can finally get a remake someday so more people can play it. We need to all join in the movement to hashtag remaster Thousand-Year Door. We need to make sure that nobody ever has to play the new Paper Mario games without at least getting to experience Thousand-Year Door first. I can't even imagine what that would do to a person. Hey Evan, this was my first ever Paper Mario game and I loved it. He's lost his mind. Hook him up to a Thousand-Year Door IV, quick!